initially, I was not going to do this review because I realized that I had an unpopular opinion. Like, I was watching Twitter and I just saw, like, you know, how the news broke about this, what is it, reunion or whatever, and I realized that I had like a different point of view because I watched this show as just a show. I don't go into the show having any, being like a fan of anybody, so I just watch it like every time it premieres and I just give my review of it. But I realized that there are a lot of people, especially with this show. I haven't seen it with any other show, but especially with this show, who have like their own stan groups. And I think that's commendable of the ladies because I really haven't seen it with any other show besides a couple of Erica Jane fans. But this housewife, like Atlanta Housewives, they have stans, and that's awesome for the ladies to be able to build something like that from a reality TV show, because not a lot of people, sans the Kardashians, are able to do that. So I think that's great. However, I feel like because they have so many people who love them, nothing that they do is called on the carpet. Like, they can't do anything wrong, and when somebody who is not a stan or a fan makes a comment on the show as a whole, it seems like it's an attack, and it's not. I just call it like I see it every episode. And so here is my unpopular opinion. For starters, we did not need a 4-part reunion. Andy Cohen, listen up, brother, okay? We don't need to watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, any Real Housewives reunion for an entire month. This could have been done in a quick 2-hour reunion special. That's what you need to do from now on. But I realize you're trying to milk the advertisers and you're trying to get money, because at the end of the day, this is entertainment, but it's also a business. So I totally understand that. But there was just nothing important or nothing to talk about for 4 episodes of this reunion. It did not need to be 4. It did not need to be 2. 1 2-hour special was all you needed to do. And to be quite honest, you could have got it done in an hour, because nothing really worthwhile happened until the end of the 4-part reunion. And so that was, to me, I just felt like it was like a huge waste of fan time, because we have been watching this show. If you're like me, we've been watching this show since the beginning. Like, I've been watching this show since the lady had their old faces. They look completely different now. It has nothing to do with aging and everything to do with plastic surgery. But I've been a fan since then. And there have been more interesting reunions that I wish would have had more time. This was not one of them. Honestly, the season, I did have one person who disagreed. He thought the season was great, and that's fine. I, as someone who has been watching it from the beginning, I've seen greater seasons from these ladies, and I just didn't feel like I got an overall great season. We had a season that was full of drama, and that's fine. That's what you need for these shows. But for me, the Real Housewives of Atlanta was also drama and comedy and shade and just fun. Like, this was a great show to watch while on Twitter, because there were so many funny moments that you were able to connect with other people about and just have a good laugh while still watching the show. And even after the show, days after, you're still laughing and cackling about something that somebody said, or like the wig shade that somebody threw at another person. Like, you were able to do that. I could not do that this season. There was so much negativity, so much like dirt throwing and just gutter. You know, the ladies got to a really low place. And I didn't find that I had the same experience with that. So anyway, with this reunion, I'll be honest here, I'm not going to talk about anything else because there wasn't anything to talk about, really. Although I felt like Todd stayed there a little bit longer than he needed to. I feel like that with all the husbands the entire season. And there is one person who said, well, don't you want your husband to defend you? Of course I want my husband to defend me. I want my husband to defend me from another man. I don't want my husband bucking up at no chick that's like 130 pounds, you know, and me and her have a disagreement. I could take this heifer. You need to deal with the dude that's 6'3" who's trying to fight me at the gas station because I took a spot that he was trying to get into. Do that. Don't sit up there and go back and forth with me with another woman that I could take on a bad day. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need you there, honey. I need you there for other things, okay? I need you to talk me down off the ledge when I'm about to punch a heifer in the face and you're looking at me like, baby, you don't need to do that because you have so much more going on. You don't need to lower yourself down to that level. I need you to be the sense when I'm all over the place. That's what I need from my husband. For me, it's just not attractive to see a man jump in a woman's face for any reason. I don't want my boo doing that. So that was my issue that I had with Todd and the rest of the husbands just taking a bigger part on the show. I really wish they would just take the road of the New Jersey husbands and do their own thing, have their own drama, sans the wives, because I just don't like the men getting into it with the women. It's ugly to me. So anyway, the end of the reunion, the 4-part reunion, which was the only part to really talk about, was when it was revealed that Phaedra was the one who told Portia about the lie that Candy and Todd, I keep on wanting to say toddler, I'm so sorry, that Candy and Todd, and you know what, speaking of toddler, I bet you, I guarantee you that Phaedra was the one who started using that term toddler, because Portia, I love her, but she can't think like that. You know what I mean? She don't have that shade off the top of her head like that. That toddler is a Phaedra reference. I guarantee you. Anyway, it's revealed that Phaedra is the one that told Portia about it, and Portia is looking at her and she's just like, well, I received the cease and desist, so I'm going to let Phaedra talk about it because Phaedra was the one who told me. And then Phaedra, you know, I told y'all, when Phaedra gets caught in the lie, them eyelashes get heavy and she starts looking around for change or whatever, because she doesn't know, when Phaedra is caught, she doesn't know how to get out of it, which I'm surprised that she's a lawyer, because I'm like, isn't that a huge part of your profession? But she didn't know how to get out of this lie. So she's looking around and she's like, well, I heard it from somebody. I heard it from the streets. So Kenya's like, oh, here go the streets again. Kenya got on my nerves this episode as well, but there were some things that she was saying that I was just like, girl, tell it. She was on point, but my only issue with Kenya this episode was that she kept on interjecting and she wasn't allowing people to speak, because I wanted to know what was going on, but she just kept on interjecting with her side comments, and because she's mic'd, you could hear it just as you can hear everybody else. So it was just, that part was annoying. But anyway, so Portia, poor Portia, is looking at Phaedra like, don't do that. You told me you were the one who said it. And then Phaedra is trying to act like she didn't say it. And she's just like, no, I heard it. And so I repeated it to you. And Portia's just like, no, you called me on the phone before I was to meet with Candy. And you told me that they were going to drug and rape me. 2 days before the reunion, you called me and reiterated. You didn't say it like somebody else told you. You sat up there and said it like you were in a conversation and you heard it. And so when Portia realized what Phaedra had been doing to her the entire season, she starts falling apart. And I understand it. I just didn't think that it took all of this drama with the tears, because I can't stand Todd, you know what I mean? And this part kind of got on my nerves a bit, but I agree with him. He was like, why are you crying now? Like, who cares about the tears? And I didn't agree with Todd in that, because I told you I don't like the men talking to the wives like that. I didn't agree with him coming at her, but for me, I was just like, why are you crying about it? I don't know, guys. I just didn't think it was that big of a deal for her to be crying about the fact that somebody on this reality TV show lied. I don't know. I guess because I'm watching it as somebody, like I said, who has been watching it for a very long time. They all lie. They all shade each other. They all talk nasty about each other. They're just terrible people to each other. You know what I mean? Like, your guys aren't best friends, your co-workers in a grudge match. You know what I mean? So I just didn't understand why she was that upset. I agree with being upset, but like falling down and crying, I'm like, Phaedra lied to you. Y'all all lie. Why were you shocked? But I feel like she kind of went into this relationship with Phaedra not knowing that she was being played. Not only was she being used as somebody to make Candy jealous, she was also used as a pawn to go after Candy, because I'm telling you, I told y'all in the beginning, Phaedra never forgave Candy or Todd for all that bad stuff that they were saying at the reunion. She never forgave them for helping out Apollo. And what Phaedra wanted was, she wanted Candy to bring her husband along and to throw away Apollo, because she felt like her and Candy had a stronger relationship than Apollo and Todd. But Candy, being the wife, sided with her husband, and it put a wedge in her relationship. And Phaedra never forgave her for that. And Phaedra did it. Phaedra came after Candy in her own Christian Southern Belle way, because she couldn't come out She couldn't go after her the way she wanted to, the worldly way she wanted to, because she's this Christian girl and her parents are pastors or whatever, and she's a Southern belle. She couldn't really do it the gutter way that she wanted to, so she got somebody else who was simple-minded to do the dirty work for her. That's the whole thing here. It's these two girls who were women, who were really good friends in the beginning, fell out over one of the other friends' divorce, and man, it's so sad, because when you watch it, when you go back, you see a friendship that was destroyed because of the men in their lives. And this happens to women so many times. You get these dudes and they get in the middle of your relationship and they break you up, and the next thing you know, you and your bestie is fighting and y'all falling out, and the next thing you know, y'all both old, divorced, and miserable, and y'all come together in your 70s like, girl, why'd I even fight about Rusty Dustin? You know what I mean? Sorry, Dustin. It's my best friend's name. I don't know. I did not need to use your name. I just needed something wrong with Rusty. Anyway, that's what happens a lot of times. And so it's really sad to see these two ladies fall out. But I feel the worst for Portia, although I feel like the tears were over the top. I do feel the worst for her because I feel like she really loved Phaedra. She really thought that she had a best friend in Phaedra on this show. And she realized when she was sitting down on that couch that she had been played by Phaedra for at least 2 seasons. And it's so sad, but it also showed you how diabolical Phaedra is, because she had been working on this revenge plot for Kandi for some time now. And it's just really sad to see those two fall out like that. I think that Phaedra and Portia are going to work it out. This is why. Phaedra needs a reason to get back on the show, because word on the streets is she's been fired. I think she's been fired as a main cast member. I think we'll see her on the sides, because I feel like what Phaedra is going to do, because at the end of the day, this is the only thing really going for her. I think she's going to mend fences with Portia and work her way in like Sheree did as like a secondary cast member, and then become a full cast member the next season. Speaking on her being fired, no, I'm not going to get to that yet. I first want to talk about how stoic Phaedra was in Kandi with all the tears. I told y'all this before. Because I'm not a crier, if I was in a situation with somebody and the other person cried, sympathy automatically went to them. And I had an issue with this. I had an issue with Kandi and the tears, because yes, she was hurt and yes, she was affected by it. But I feel like Phaedra, because Phaedra didn't have any emotions, I feel like that played a part in how the people viewed her, and the reason why she was fired. Because this is the thing. I felt like Andy was giving her a lifeboat. A lifeboat? A life jacket. Life jacket or lifeboat, whatever. I felt like he was giving her that, because Kandi was doing all this crying. And all these tears was coming down. You know, Kandi is a crier. And she was like falling out, and everybody was, you know, gravitating towards her. But I'm just like, Phaedra, pull a tear out of somewhere and do something. Because I've been in those situations. I've been in situations where I've been wronged, and because I'm not crying or like affected by that, where like my tear ducts are coming down my face, I've been made like the bad guy. And I'm just like, this person was the one who said this about me. But because they're crying, I have to feel some sort of way about that? No. I was hoping that Phaedra would have just let out a tear or broke, you know what I mean? But I can understand her not breaking. However, I'm just like, girl, this is reality TV. The creator of the franchise is sitting there talking to you, trying to get you to say something, to reveal it. The only thing that I can think of that would make Phaedra not reveal who she got this information from is if she got it from a producer who's no longer on the show. I think that's probably what happened, because I've seen this happen in other reality TV shows where they get information. Because let me tell you something. First of all, these ladies ain't that slick. They ain't that sly, and they don't have all these sources. A lot of times what happens in these shows is that the production people sit down and they meet with every person on the show, and they say, what do you have going on in your life for the next 4 to 6 months that we can film that is important? So they sit down with the person, and they have this like light script. They script out their lives, you know what I mean, for the next 4 months with the information that has been given to them. The shows are called reality TV because in those 4 to 6 months that they are filming, real things happen. but they are going according to script. So every meeting that they have, every event that they go to, all that stuff has to be cleared and covered and paid for before the ladies even show up. So the majority of the show is scripted, but because there are real life moments, like if somebody gets pregnant, or if somebody loses a baby, or if somebody starts dating somebody, if a relationship breaks up, those are the real moments, and that's why these shows are called reality TV. However, a lot of the time, these shows are scripted. So I feel like what happened, and I talked about it before, Phaedra, now that we know that it's her, broke the fourth wall and changed up the script when she put this lie out there. And I think it changed up when Portia revealed it. I think if Portia wouldn't have said anything, she would have probably sat with this kind of disdain towards Kandi and Todd and not have revealed what was going on. And it would, Kandi and Portia still would have had like a crazed relationship because of the information that Phaedra was feeding her. And I feel like Phaedra fed her that information because she knows that, no shade to you, Portia, is kind of, I was going to say dodo brain. That's not what I meant. But not hip to the game. Even Phaedra herself said that she has a small brain. So she knew that she could manipulate her. However, she can't control her mouth. And that is the problem. Portia was revealing way too much information and putting Phaedra back into the driver's seat of the drama. And Phaedra didn't want that. She wanted to give her this information and have her burn down Kandi and Todd. But Portia was too slick with the tongue, and all this stuff was coming out, and it was all roads were leading back to Phaedra. So my issue with Phaedra is one that I wish she would have done this another way, right? But it's a reality TV show and she created a show. I also wish that she would have just showed some emotion. Maybe not reveal your sources, but Andy, I'm telling you guys, I was watching that scene and Andy was just like, so Portia, so Phaedra, how do you feel? Like trying to get her to say something, because I have always felt this. If you watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, there's a soft spot that he has in his heart for two characters out of the Atlanta Housewives franchise, and that is Nene Leakes and that is Phaedra Parks. If you look at it, he has had them on his show multiple times. Even in their conversation, they talk about the stuff that they have done outside of the show. Like, he invites them to stuff. They all hang out and they are all, not together, but Andy does things with those two specific wives. Like, they are a part of his life outside of the show, right? So I felt like he was trying to help her because he knew that if he could not get her to that point, he would not be able to bring her back on the show. And because he no longer has that pull, like Andy is no longer, he's the creator of the franchise, but there's another production company running it. So the EPs of that show now, and word on the street is there was a little shakeup in the production. So it's a lot going on over there with that show. So the same EPs that were there at the beginning aren't there anymore. So maybe that's why Phaedra was fired, because maybe Kandi was just like, I'm not going to film with her, and the new EPs wanted to keep her on because she has a lot of stuff going on with Escape. Maybe that's it. But back to what I was saying, I feel like Andy was trying to save Phaedra, and because Phaedra would not show any emotion, because she would just not reveal the truth. Guys, I honestly think that if Phaedra just sat down there and just did a little smirk, if she would have took the role of just being evil and not tried to act like she wasn't the villain, if she would have just sat there and she would have just smirked and she would have been like, I got your back. Something like that, you know what I mean? And just explained, last season, you and your husband dragged me through the dirt. You sided with my cheating husband. You knew. And if she just would have let that guard down and just let all that stuff come out, if she would have let that woman that set up and almost hit Kenya in the head with the purse, if she would have let that come out, I guarantee you Phaedra would be on next season. I guarantee you, because that's good TV. That is a show. They know that. Sad to say, they know that there's a place that they can go to break her. And Phaedra wouldn't break. She wouldn't break. She just sat there stoic. And I'm like, girl, your job is on the line. You got to feed these kids. Tell the truth. Just be like, listen, I told the lie. I was sitting up there gossiping with my girlfriend, and we were just having a little kiki, and I told a lie, and I told a little information because I wanted to poison her against you, because I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like your husband. I don't like what you did. I don't like how you sided with that devil that was cheating on me. You were my best friend. You should have rode with me to the end. That's what you need to say to stay on the show, and she didn't say it, so she's probably gone because of it. And it's just like, girl, I guess because I'm somebody who knows what's going on, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know all the tea, right? But I live in LA and I work in this industry, and I know a couple people who work, you know, in the vicinity of the show, so I know a little background drama. Like, there was Like specifically, there was somebody on the show who had a storyline that I had already knew was going to play out because, you know, I was privy to the meeting that they had with a certain person to, you know, have this storyline. So I've never seen it for them because it was just like, you are playing people. But again, it's a reality TV show, so they have to entertain us. And they did a great job, because if I didn't know that, I would be convinced. You know what I mean? So props to them. Props to everybody on this show. I will continue to say that I think where the ladies, where they went wrong is that they went off script. They went off script. If they would have just stayed on script for this season, they would have been fine. However, I feel like Phaedra was affected by things that happened to her last season, and she didn't want to deal with it. Like, she didn't want to deal with it. She didn't want to say anything. She wanted to keep this, I'm okay, everything's fine. When really inside, she was breaking down. And if she just would have been honest, even if she would have talked to Andy after the show, she probably would still have her peach, but she doesn't. However, I think she's going to work her way in as a secondary cast member and come back on the full next season, because I don't know if Nene and Kim are going to transfer properly now, because they are so industry now. I don't know if they're really going to give us what we liked from them from the beginning. I have been saying that I want Nene Leakes back, but now that I know that Kim is coming back with Nene, I just don't know. I really don't know how that show is going to work out at this point. If next season doesn't work out too well, I just hope they just recast it and just give us all new housewives. I don't know why they keep on using the same old people. Like, you can't make the same bread with different ingredients. You know what I mean? Like, this is reality TV. You'll get the same outcome with a whole new cast. So I'm anxious to see what the next season is going to look like with the shakeup going on, but I don't know if it's going to be a good one. I hope that Nene can bring the comic relief. We know that Kim is going to be messy. However, with this administration and a lot of the racism being kicked back up in America, I don't know how well having like one white person in this entire cast of black women is going to transfer well. I think before it did well, because we were all in this kumbaya, America is moving forward, we have a black president. We're not there anymore, and there are a lot of things that have been pushed under the rug in this nation that are now coming up. So I don't know how well she's going to play on this show. And I know she's had like racial beef with one person who said something about her and a black baby. So I don't know if that's going to come up. I don't know how well it's going to work. I do know that Candy's coming back because she has a great storyline. She's starting all this stuff with Escape. I don't know about the life of Portia. If Portia does come back, it's going to be sad, because her whole storyline is going to be her trying to get back into the good graces of Candy. And I really don't want to see an adult woman grovel on national TV. So I just don't know. I don't know how interesting this season is the season coming up is going to be. I don't think that Phaedra should have been fired. I do understand Andy trying to get her to show some emotion, and it wasn't happening. So I do understand that. I mean, you know, cut her check. But don't fire her for something that I feel like they all do. That's my only problem. That's my unpopular opinion. I don't feel like she should have been fired for lying on Candy, because they all lie on each other, you know, to a huge extent, you know what I mean? And I think the rape and drug gossip, or that tale that she told, I think that's what really put it over, because we're in such a tense time and that's just nothing to joke about. And I honestly understand that, but I just feel like the ladies have said things equally horrible to other people on the show, but because it's not as controversial right now, or because it's not something that we're talking about or we're trying to fix in our society, it just doesn't get the same amount of attention as drugging and raping. And even in that, I personally, and I had to check myself with this, because I was just like, Candy, let it go. It's not that big of a deal. And I was thinking like that because I would have never believed that about her, right? And I don't think that a majority of people who would have heard something like that believe that about her. However, it is her right to be outraged by a lie, you know? And so that was my thing about it. I was just like, nobody will believe this, so why are you getting upset about it? But it's not happening to me. It's happening to her. So she has every right to feel that way. But I just felt like that was a lie that just wouldn't hold weight. But for some reason, Phaedra knew that it would cut her, and it would cut her deep. So I don't know. This season was just, it was dark for me. And I expect darkness from New Jersey, not Atlanta, but I guess everybody goes through their seasons. I really just hope that this season gets back to being funny. I hope the ladies get back to being friends again, or at least, you know, comfortable cast members, and I hope we stop the lesbian, gay, and homophobia and all that stuff. I hope we stop tearing each other down. I just want them to go back to just being shady and petty. I don't like the gossip, you know, those dark rumors that really can affect somebody outside of the TV show. Just keep it within the TV show, ladies. And I'm hoping that maybe these new cast members and the shakeup with old cast members coming back, I'm really hoping that that helps save and elevate the show. I'm excited that Nene is coming back. Not a fan of Nene. I told you I met her in person. She was horrible to me, but I think she's great to this show. Don't really know how Kim is going to play in the show. Don't really know if Sheree is going to come back, because she doesn't really have anything going on. And Wendy Williams does not want her to come back for some reason. And Andy listens to her. Just so you know, she has a huge following, and he really values her opinion. So I don't know if she's coming back. But I didn't think she was coming back, because I didn't think she had anything to really talk about. And that's the thing. If they don't have a story, it's not really... If they don't have a story, there's no reason for them to be on the show. That's, you know, they don't have anything coming up. So hopefully in your meeting, Sheree, you have something that could save you so that you can come back. Kenya is definitely always going to be on the show, because she takes the role of the villain, and she plays it well. And it's working out for her on this show. The only problem, Kenya, with you playing the villain is that you can't go anywhere with that. You're going to have to exhaust this reality TV source for as long as you can, and this is on its way out. So you have to find something else, and that's the problem. That's why a lot of people do not want to play the villain on TV, because even if you're playing a character, especially in reality TV, a lot of people do not understand that you're playing a character for a show, because you're using your real name and real relationships and real business, even though you all are in on the joke. A lot of people are taking it for this is who you are, so you can't do anything outside of this show. So Kenya's always going to be on, because they'll pay her in dust, and she'll still do the show, because this is all that she can really get, because she's pretty much soiled any other opportunities that she can get outside of this. So I'm hoping that if you come back, which you will, as the villain, that you try to make it something that could work for you, where you won't need to rely on other people to hire you. You have to, I hope you come in with Kenya Moore here. I hope it works out for you. Something, girl. You're going to need something, because you're playing yourself into a position where you're unhireable after the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I hope you know that. I hope your team knows that. So, I don't know. Hopefully I'll be so busy I won't have the time to review this show. Hopefully I'm on the show. That's the goal. But if I'm not, or if I am, if the show was fun and interesting, I still will be here. So thank you all for tuning in. I'm looking forward to see what else Bravo has going on. I think I might start reviewing that Cabo show. With all like the gay guys and the straight women having sex with them. I think that looks like a fun show, so I think I might start reviewing that show. And then I will definitely be reviewing The Bachelorette, okay? Because it's a sister. So I will be there, and I hope to see you guys there. And if you like what you see here, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you next week for something. Love you guys. Bye. Be nice in the comment section, okay? I'm not a shady, like... I'm not like a shady reviewer, okay? I'm funny. That's about it. You guys be nice to each other. I don't want anybody like fighting in here and like, you know, just being nasty. This is fun comedy over here. You can be nasty in somebody else's comment section, but not here. Keep it nice. Even if you're fans of certain people, it's okay. I'm glad that you love them. You keeping a show full of black women #1 on a white network. Thank you. But be nice, guys. Be nice. We all got to cross the barrier, and this world is hard. Be nice, have a joke, and live your life. All right, see you soon for another review. Love you guys. Bye.